Hello and welcome back to Excelshare Academy. So now we are going to do the fifth part of the IIT JAM 2019 Biotechnology, solving with the complete explanation. So I hope you have seen the other four sessions of these, and now we are going to proceed further. So now what we are going to do is that these are the questions which are not having any options. So this is something you should know from your basics should be clear. Everything needs to be known over here. So there are sometimes you need to remember also. So these are like where you have to actually calculate and get the answer. So let's begin our this session. So your question number 41. C3 plants utilize 18 molecules of ATP to synthesize one molecule of glucose from CO2. So we have got 18 ATP for one glucose molecule. Okay, from one CO2. Now, how many molecules of ATP equivalents are used by C4 plants to synthesize one molecule of glucose from CO2? So this was all about C3 and this is C4. So if you remember, the examples are wheat, maize of C4 plants. Now, why they are called C4 plants? If you don't know, please go back and check where you are going to have the two separate sections are there. Mesophyll and Barnard cells are there. So just brush up your and revise that topic. Okay, so now let's see. So in C3 plants, what happens is that, so we know that in C3 plants, for one molecule of CO2, it takes 3 ATP molecules are required. Okay, so what does it mean? It means what? So 3 CO2 molecules, that is forming the triose phosphate, it will take around 9 ATP molecules, right? So which is going to required, so it means then again 6 CO2, it means 18 ATP. Okay, so I hope this is clear how we are arriving to this conclusion. Now, in C4 plants, so this was all about C3 plants. So now in C4 plants, okay, one molecule of CO2, it needs 5 ATP are required. Now for 3, it is going to be 15, correct? Now for 6 CO2, it is going to be 30 ATP molecules. Now, if you know that in case of C4 plants that from one CO2 molecule, 5 ATPs are required, then you can calculate actually how much or how many ATPs are required to synthesize one molecule of glucose from the CO2. So now from this, we understood that we need around 30 ATPs and 6 molecules of CO2 to synthesize one molecule of glucose. Okay, so thus C4 pathways, they consume around 30 ATPs for the synthesis of one molecule of glucose, and C3 pathways consumes around 18 ATP molecules for the synthesis of one molecule of glucose. So I hope this is clear. Okay, so along with this, please go and study the Kelvin pathway as well as the C4 pathway also. Okay, so moving on to the next question. So next questions, 0.1% of weight by volume of a protein absorbs 20% of the incident light. So it is given that incident light is 20%. Okay. What fraction of light is transmitted if the concentration is increased to 0.4%? So from 0.1%, it has increased to 0.4%. Now, we know that transmittance is equal to the ratio of the intensity of the transmitted light upon the incident light. If suppose it was absorbance, then it is incident light upon the light, right? So here transmittant is going to be the opposite. So it is the intensity of the transmitted light, I, and to the intensity of the incident light. Okay, so this is your transmittance. So it is given that I is 80 and I0 is your 20, right? So from this we know that. Now, so T is equal to 80 by 2. So how much you are going to get? You're going to get as 4, right? So I hope this is clear. Okay. Now, the transmittance is converted into percentage, right? So percentage T is equal to T into 100%, which is equal to 4 into 100%, or otherwise simply we can say 400%. Okay. Now, okay, so now what is happening? The transmittance and the absorbance are inversely proportional as already mentioned, right? So the inverse relationship between the transmittance and absorbance is not linear. It is going to be then logarithmic. So absorbance is equal to log 10 upon 1 by T, right? Where A is absorbance, T is the transmittance. This can be also written as minus log 10T. Now, this is going to be then, so what is T over here? That is your T percentage, right? T percentage. Now, this can be written as minus log of 10% T plus log of 1000. Okay. So I hope you are getting all this thing. Okay. So now this becomes, so this value can be written as 10 to the power 2, right? So that becomes your 2 over here, and then minus log 10 of T, A. Okay. Moving on to the further. And then what we get is, this can be rearranged and written as 2 minus log T. Now, when you put the values of the percentage T over here, so what is that value over here? From the previous, we know that it is 400, right? So this can be written as A is equal to 2 minus log 10 of 400, right? So now that becomes your 2 minus 2.60. And A will become your minus 0.6. Correct? I hope this much is clear now. Now, absorbance is 0.6 and the transmittance and absorbance are inversely related. So it means what? Again, transmittance is your 0.4. So the correct answer is going to be your 0.4. Okay. So what fraction of light is transmitted if the concentration is increased? Then the answer is this. So I hope you got the answer and it is clear. Let's move on to the next question. So let XYZ be an equilateral triangle and let PQR be the midpoints of YZ, XZ and XY respectively. So let's do this question. So here you have got the triangle. Let us say that it is equilateral triangle having X, Y and Z. Okay. So PQ are the midpoints over here. P, XZ is for your, okay, like this. So P, Q and R. So they are saying that let R is equal to area of triangle PQR by area of triangle XYZ. So what is the value of R? So what are R over here? The radius. Now how we are going to calculate? So this value is going to be half of this value. Okay, if this is, if this value is X, then this value is going to be half of X, and similarly with the others also. So let us say that this is X and this is half of X. If this is A, then this is half of A. And if this is B, then this is half of B. Okay. Now let's say that let your XY, capital XY, this one is B. Then your, this is XY is B. Then QR. Then QR is B by 2. Similarly with the others also. Okay. So you're taking all the midpoints. Now area of triangle. So area of triangle XYZ is root 4 by A square. Since all these are going to be equal because it's an equilateral triangle. So here X is equal to B is equal to A. Okay. This value. So these sides are same. So this is your area. Now triangle PQR is going to be root 3 by 4 A by 2 ka square. That becomes your A by 4. Correct? Okay. So that is your A by 4 now. If we say that this is capital A, then this becomes your A by 4. Okay. Now R. So what is R now? So if you put the values over here, R is then your A by 4 by A. That is 1 by 4. It is your 0.25. So your R is 0.25. Okay. I hope this is clear. Let's move on to the next question. So maths is something you have to have the patience. Take out your pen and paper, start writing, because it's not easy without you. It's not easy if you don't solve it, and if you guess it, then definitely there will be some mistakes happening. Now, let n be the set of natural numbers. F is a function of n to n be defined by this. So when x by 2, x is even, 3x plus 1 when x is odd. So let fn denotes the n-fold composition of fx. What is the smallest integer n such that f of n is equal to 1? Okay. So now we need to do certain calculations over here. So let's begin that. So f is a function till f of is x. So this can be defined like that. So suppose we are doing f as first one, then it is 3, 30 plus 1. How much you are going to get over here? 39 plus 1, 40. So what is the meaning over here? It is a even number, right? So now we are going to apply this one. So what is that? So your f2 will be 40 by 2. So what you are getting? 20. Again, it's an even number, right? Then again, I'm going to carry out the function where 20 will be then taken as 20 by 2. What I'm going to get? 10. Again, an even number. So I'm going to take again. So then 10 by 2, I'm getting 5. Now 5 is your odd number. Okay. Now 5 is your odd number. So I'm going to use this function. So what is that function then? 5 into 3 plus 1. What I'm getting? 15 plus 1, 16. Now 16 is even number. So then I'll have 16 by 2, 8. 8 by 2, 4. Correct? Then 4 by 2, 2. Then 2 by 2, I'm going to 1. So 1 is again your odd number. So how many times we have done? So if you calculate, all, we are getting that n is 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 times f of n 13 will give you 1. Okay. I hope this is clear. So let me just make it once again. So they're asking that you have got the two functions, even and odd, right? Now you have to carry out this function whenever you are getting even number. You have to follow this function. If it is an odd number, then follow this function. Okay. So when we started, it is a 30 number, right? So it is going to be odd number. So odd means this function you have to use. So we started with 3 into 13 plus 1, you got 40. Now 40 is even number. This is your first one. Okay. So 40 is your even number. You are going to use this function. So we use 40 by 2. We got 20, which is again even. Then 20 by 2, 10, again even. Then 10 by 2, I got 5, right? Which is your odd number. Now, since it is odd, I'm going to use this function. So that is 5, 3 into 5 plus 1, that is 15 plus 1, it's 16. Now I'm getting even. So 16 by 2, 8, 8 by 2, 4, 4 by 2, 2, 2 by 2, 1. Now, how many times we have used this function? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, your n is 9. Okay. So, I think now it is very much clear. So, let's move on to the next question. Okay. Now, heterozygous female fruit flies with gray body and purple eyes were mated with homozygous males with black body and red eyes. So the number of offsprings obtained and the phenotypes are shown below. So calculate the recombination frequency. So it's very simple actually, because recombination frequency is calculated by the number of recombinants divided by total number of progeny into 100. So we just need to understand which among these are going to be the recombinants over here. Okay. So yes, so listen carefully over here. So heterozygous female fruit flies with gray body, purple eyes. Gray body, purple eyes were mated with males with black body and red eyes. Okay, so these are your parents. Now, any combination of these are going to be the recombinants. So what are those? Gray body with red eyes is your recombinants. See, gray body, purple eyes, again, it's one of the parents. Black body, red eyes, again the parents. These are the parental frequency. Gray body, red eyes, it's a recombinant frequency. Black body, purple eyes, again, it's a recombinant frequency. Recombinants frequency. So recombination frequency is equal to it is equal to number of recombinants divided by total number of progeny into 100. Okay, so now what we have over here, the number of recombinants. So R is equal to 61 plus 55 divided by total, that is 300 plus 347 plus 61 plus 55. Okay, so what do we get? We get 116 by 7, 63 into 100. So on calculation, you will get that it is around 15%. Okay, so recombination frequency is 15%. So this is very simple actually. The simple maths you have to do. So proinsulin is an 84 residue polypeptide with 6 16s. How many different disulfide recombinations are possible? Now this is very tricky question actually, and very simple also. So we have got the 84 residues, 6 cysteines are there, and we know the disulfide bond is formed between the two. So now the combination. So let us say that we have got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's say that a covalent bond is formed between a sulfur atom of the two cysteine molecules, that is your disulfide bond. Okay. Now, according to this question, now 6 residues of cysteines are present in the proinsulin. So either there can be like this combination where you have got the 5 peptide bonds, right? Now, in this case, 5 disulfide bonds are possible, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are the 5 possibility. We can also write like this. So it is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 5, 6. Here it is 5, right? What is the second condition? So here total 5. Now in the second combination, we can also have 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, right? So here we got 4. Now another 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6. 3 combinations are possible. Then we have got 3, 5 and 3, 6. That is here 2 combination is possible. Then last we can also have 4, 6. That is your 1. So how much you are getting? 5 plus 4, 9. 9 plus 3, 12. 12 plus 3, 15. So total 15 combinations are possible. Okay. So this is very simple actually and a tricky question also. So I hope this is clear. And guys, whenever you're not able to understand any concept or any topic, please comment me so that again I can take it. I have no issue. You can also ask the questions in the Telegram by the name Excelsior Academy. So let's move on to the next question. So the refractive index of a liquid related to air is 1.5. Calculate the ratio of the real depth to the apparent depth when the liquid is taken in a beaker. So for a bio student, getting or having physics, chemistry, mathematical questions might be becoming a difficult, but it's actually not difficult. So if you're thorough with the 11th and 12th standard physics, chemistry, and maths, you can actually crack IIT JAM very easily. Okay, so refractive index is given already as 1.5. So it is given as refractive index is given as 1.5. And according to refractive index formula, we know that refractive index is equal to the real depth by the apparent depth. Okay. So we know that it is 1.5 and real depth to apparent depth, it is going to be the ratio as 1.5 itself. Or you can also write like, you know, the ratio is 115 by 10. This can be written as ratio 3:2. So in that ratio also you can write. So calculate the ratio, right, of the real to the apparent depth. So 1.5 can be written as 15 by 10. That is 3/2. So the ratio is 3:2. Okay. Yeah. So let's move on to the next. A metallic wire of electrical resistance 40 ohm is bent in the form of square loop. The resistance between any two diagonally opposite corner is dash. So in this question, it is given that the resistance of the metallic wire is 40. So R is given as 40 ohm. Now, when the wire is being formed on the square, the resistance of each side of the square is going to be same because square has got all sides same, right? So these are going to be all sides same are there. So it is 1/4 of the total resistance. So what will happen? 1/4 means what? It is 10 each. Okay. Now each side has 10 ohm as resistance. So we calculate the two opposite diagonals. So the two sides of the square is in the series, and that series combination is parallel with the another. So that is going to be 20 resistance, and 20 ohm resistance is parallel with the another 20 ohm resistance. So what we get is again 10 ohm as the answer. So if you calculate like this over this also, when you solve, you are going to get as 10 only. So the answer is 10. So now this is very simple. Let's move on to the next. So the total number of lone pairs of electrons in NO2F is how many are there? So number of lone pair of electrons, if you know how to write the structure, then it becomes very easy to calculate the number of lone pairs. So now this is how you write your NO2F formula. Okay, this is your F. So how many are there? Here 4 electrons. Here you have got the 6, and then here also 6. So as I was saying, so this is the structure of NO2F. This is how you make. So if you see, the number of lone pair of electrons on oxygen is 2 plus 3, so total 5. And then number of lone pair of electrons on fluorine is 3. So total 8 lone pair of electrons is present in this particular structure. Okay. So in order to calculate the number of lone pairs of electrons, if you know how to draw the structure of a molecule, then it becomes easy. So last question for this session. The total number of multiplet peaks in H1 NMR spectrum of 1,3,5-triisopropyl benzene in CdCl3 is dash. So this is something you need to remember over here because it's already there and it's very common actually. So you can remember over here. So that it is going to be 2 peaks are going to be there. Okay. So first peak is there. So here your first peak is going to be, so your first peak is going to be at 6.78 and second peak is going to be at 2.28. Now, of course, 6.78 is because of the aromatic hydrogens which is present in the structure, and at the peak B, it is going to be because of the propyl hydrogens. The correct answer is 2. Okay, so that's all for today. I hope you like the video. Please go through, watch again and again. If you're not able to understand, you can ask me anytime. In the Telegram, I'm always available 24/7. And if you are not using Telegram, you can also comment in the YouTube channel also. So you can also tell which particular question is not clear to you so that I can take in. Again, I can explain in the brief. Okay, so wait for the last session also. And yes, if any suggestions are there, you can always suggest me. It's always will be appreciated. So thank you for watching.